Okay. I think the mic's finally on. Hi. I'm here. I'm looking just like a hot mess. That's okay, because I've had a time of it. I'm sorry if you can hear extraneous noises that I can't get rid of because, this is my new recording space, which is right outside, or right next to a dog and several cats, and the child's not home right now, but there is a child in this house, and also other people generally. So, yes, this is a thing now. I know I've been gone for a while, and there are reasons for that, which I will get into momentarily. I feel like this is going to be a difficult video already because I'm exhausted, and I'm still exhausted. I am not in a great headspace at this moment as far as like where I am with my reading, where I am with Booktube. I want to be in a good headspace. I want to be better, which is the reason why I haven't really been recording, beyond the fact that I just feel like this is a chore rather than a sort of an escapist thing, which I think for a lot of people it has become, and I appreciate people sticking around. And some people who have subbed to me, while I've been making no content. Thank you guys. Like, I do appreciate the support, and I hope that this will be the only video that I make this year that is going to be super depressing. So, have some cats, have some dogs. I'll try to put as much video as possible to make this a little easier. I mean, as you all know, February into March was a weird time for pretty much the entire world because of the sort of panic that ensued after the virus. And also, as many of you know, I was, up until recently, was living in Africa. There are a lot of things that are implied when living in Africa, especially as someone who is an expat, and most of that being that we needed to get out of there as quickly as possible. What was kind of nice for us, or fortunate for us, was that we were already planning on leaving. My husband's work, the contract had expired essentially, so we were planning on coming back to the United States anyway, but it was just the timetable was severely moved up for about a week. Plans, flights were changing anywhere from like every 3 hours to every 6 hours. There were a lot of different plans that we had, and that all moved up, and that all changed. Honestly, at some point we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to get out of the country before it shut down. So we packed up our house in 5 days, the entirety of the house. And what typically happens is that there is a company that comes in who surveys everything, makes sure that, they understand what things need to be packed up, what things, aren't ours, because we didn't own a lot of the furniture and such. But because we were scrambling to get out, we packed up as much as we could. We staged things. All the kitchen stuff needed to be packed and whatever, so everything was out of drawers and cabinets and such. But we did that in 5 days, and then one of our friends had to be there when the moving company came in. When we left the country, we were not even sure if the moving company was ever going to get there because, again, the country was going to shut down. So it was entirely possible that they weren't going to be able to get into our house, in which case there was a high possibility that due to where we were, due to the state of the country, due to the fact that we, might not have anyone looking after the house while we were gone, that people came in and just took all of our stuff. It's a possibility. It was a possibility. And we had to make peace with that. We had essentially lost all of our belongings. Since then, we have found out that the moving company has put all of our stuff into a big crate, and it's sitting in a warehouse. But now, definitely, the country has gone into shutdown, and they're going to extend their lockdown. So, again, even though it's going to be a little bit harder because it's in a warehouse and it's in a crate, but if things get bad enough in a country where things are already extremely bad, it is entirely possible that someone breaks into the warehouse looking for stuff to loot, to sell, to feed their families, and once again, all of our stuff is gone. So, I mean, we have all of as many sentimental belongings as we could possibly get, but pretty much everything else outside of our suitcases is gone. Well, I have hope that it will, find its way to our next location. I just have to keep thinking that what we have is what we own, and that's how I'm dealing with that loss. I know it's just stuff, it can be replaced, but it's a little heartbreaking for the fact that for the last 2 years I've been trying to build up a home for us as fairly newlyweds. I don't know, we've been married for a couple of years now. All of that stuff that we were trying to build together is gone, and that sucks. Like, it feels weird that just in one fell swoop and things that are beyond our control, it's done. It's gone. So keeping chin up, understanding that it's just stuff. It is what it is, and that's all we can really do because it's out of our hands now. So once we left, we found out that we literally got the last flight out of the country to South Africa, and that came as a complete surprise to almost everybody, including the people in South Africa, because it was announced in the middle of the day, surprise, no warning, that South African Airways was no longer going to charter flights in or out of the country. And we had about a 9-hour layover, so we had no idea whether or not we were going to get out of South Africa. And at the time, South Africa was the hardest hit country in the continent of Africa, so that was fun. Saw a lot of people with face masks that they just weren't wearing, like just wearing it around their chin or wearing it on top of their head. So that was irksome, and we just kept watching for the flights, just making sure that ours wasn't canceled, because it was just a board full of canceled flights getting out. Luckily, we were able to get on our flight. It was delayed a little bit because literally cleaned out the entire plane. Like when we walked in, it smelled like a new plane. It looked like it was completely new. I was also really lucky because the girl sitting next to me had a mask. She was wiping down literally everything with like Clorox wipes, and I had a plastic bag for us to put all of our trash. So both of us were extremely cautious about the germs that were between the two of us. That was quite good. Landed in the United States to catch one more flight. So in 24 hours, I went through 4 different airports. So immediately after all of that, my husband and I checked into a hotel, which I'd booked in advance, and we self-quarantined for 14 days because I didn't want us to have accidentally caught something and bring it home to my in-laws, his parents. They are of the age where they are more likely to die if they do catch the virus. I am still, frankly, quite afraid that for whatever reason, he and I are passive carriers. It's not that we weren't careful, it's that having had to go through that many airports, especially in a country where they weren't prepared for it, that they were overwhelmed with the amount of cases at the time, that's terrifying to me. How we deal with that day to day is that we don't go out. Like, we have gone out because we need food. Most people do still shop during non-work hours. So it actually behooves me and my husband to go out and shop for things like food. Oddly enough, we kind of need some clothes too, because again, we packed up suitcases and that is literally all we own. And it's been better for us to go when there's fewer people, not only because we might be, I don't know if we're carriers, but also because people have truly started to panic out here. We've seen, even at just like the grocery stores, there's a police presence at the doors. A couple of fights have broken out, verbal fights, not like fist fights. So it's been weird coming back. I've been rather angry at the world at large, but especially while we were trying to get out of a country that would never in a million years be able to cope with a massive pandemic. I was really mad at a lot of you who are probably watching this right now because of the way that people were coping with this new stress. And it wasn't fair of me to be angry. I don't think anyone who I knew understood how lucky and privileged you were to be living in the places that you are, even if your governments weren't responding to this well. And it was not fair of me to be angry with you, but I was angry. So I disappeared off of at least Twitter for a couple of weeks because I didn't want to be angry at you guys, because I do love you and I want to remain friends with a lot of you. But it's been really hard for me to keep my mouth shut. And I have essentially just shut down for the last couple months. Not only because of stress, but because I'm so angry. And while people generally, those of you who I follow, those of you who I actually, come across your posts during this time, people generally, I think I've stopped being angry with. Now I am angry at government responses. I'm angry at people not taking it seriously anymore. I'm angry at just a lot of things. I'm really angry. And this is, again, making it really hard for me to be upbeat and positive on Booktube, which I really want to be. I don't really want to get political. I don't really want to get upset about anything unless it's over books, because, that's fun, I guess, to be upset over books, because it really doesn't matter. But right now, things really do matter. And I don't expect to really be able to pump out as much content as I want to. Not only because this is my recording space, the bedroom that we are borrowing in my in-laws, but because I am having just a really hard time being positive right now, and I don't want that to continue and spread on Booktube, because that's really not what this space is about. I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be with family. I'm happy that, we are so fortunate that everyone in the household who was working before this came out, they all have essential jobs and they are still working. We are so fortunate. No one has gotten sick. Everyone is very careful. They're really happy to have us home. We're lucky to have a yard where, we can go out and still be social distancing, but able to have a little bit of time outdoors. And I'm so lucky that we have cats here and there's a dog. I'm able to de-stress a little bit and do a lot of self-care in that kind of respect. I've gotten a lot of writing done. Not good writing, but I had, as one of my yearly goals this year, was to have fun with my writing and to remind myself that writing is fun. That's definitely what I've done these last couple months. I am working slowly, like truly working, not just having fun. Always 2 is being written slowly. Danny and I are going to be meeting up next month, and hopefully we'll be able to get that rolling. So that's something really positive and wonderful that's going to be happening fairly soon, and I'm really excited for that. Thank you for listening. If you are still here, I hope you enjoyed the cats. I hope you enjoyed the pupper, who we tried to groom him. He looks terrible. I promise that it's just we don't know how to properly shave the dog. So I'm sorry. I hope you are all doing well. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Well, that was a time, and I think I'm over it now. I don't know if this is even going to go up, because I don't know what I just said. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, go watch something else, because I don't know why you would like this video. You need something else in your life. So, I will see you in the next video. Bye.